Welcome to today's podcast. I'm your host, and we're diving into a topic that might surprise you, one that's absolutely critical for family offices thinking beyond traditional wealth preservation: the architecture of enduring peace, a strategic framework for family offices. Today's insights come from XFO Intelligence, published October 23, 2025. Let me ask you this. What's the ultimate long-term asset for any family office? You might think wealth preservation, portfolio diversification, or maybe succession planning. But here's what the most forward-thinking family offices are discovering. Peace itself is the ultimate intergenerational asset. In our era of global turbulence and escalating conflicts, peace has evolved from a philosophical ideal into a practical imperative for preserving and propagating human prosperity. For family offices tasked with stewarding wealth across generations, peace isn't merely a moral concern. It's the foundation upon which all other assets flourish or fail. So how do we architect sustainable peace? It's not a passive state that just happens. Peace is an actively engineered system that requires simultaneous investment in three interdependent dimensions: structural, relational, and institutional peace. Let's start with structural peace, building equitable foundations. This addresses the systemic roots of conflict: unequal distribution of resources, power, and opportunity. Here's a striking statistic from World Bank research. Countries with a Gini coefficient above 0.4 are 30% more likely to experience civil unrest. This underscores the direct link between inequality and instability. Family offices are uniquely positioned to champion this dimension through innovative capital deployment that addresses inequality as strategic risk mitigation. Think about directing catalytic capital toward ventures that create dignified employment in underserved regions. Take the Omidyar Network's funding of inclusive fintech in sub-Saharan Africa. It reduced financial exclusion by 15% in targeted communities. Other practical applications include investing in essential infrastructure like clean energy and digital connectivity that reduces resource scarcity, supporting transparent governance mechanisms, and developing ownership structures that distribute wealth creation more broadly among stakeholders. By treating equitable economic development as a core investment thesis, family offices construct the foundations upon which lasting peace is built. The second pillar is relational peace, weaving the social fabric. Research by Robert Putnam shows that peace becomes self-sustaining when a critical mass of community members, estimated at 20 to 30%, actively engages in bridge building across divides. This relational work fosters trust, empathy, and cooperative capacity. Family offices are exceptionally equipped to support this through funding cultural exchange programs that operate beneath political tensions. The Tata Trust's cooperative farming projects in India's northeast reduced ethnic tensions significantly, supporting educational initiatives that emphasize shared humanity, creating spaces for dialogue between conflicting groups, and championing local peace builders who understand community dynamics intimately. Family offices often possess the discretion, patience, and cross-cultural networks to foster these connections without the baggage of governmental or corporate agendas. The third pillar is institutional peace, fortifying trustworthy governance. Sustainable peace requires institutions that earn trust through consistent performance. Family offices, with their intergenerational perspective, understand that legitimate institutions are the bedrock of stable societies where businesses thrive across decades. Practical applications include supporting judicial system reforms that ensure equal justice, like Rwanda's Gacaca courts, which resolved post-genocide disputes with community involvement, investing in media integrity and information ecosystems that serve truth over polarization, backing technologies like blockchain-based reporting that enhance governmental transparency, and modeling exemplary governance within portfolio companies and philanthropic endeavors. Now, peace building in complex environments requires careful navigation to avoid unintended consequences. You need to manage political sensitivities by engaging local experts and partnering with neutral third parties like the UN Development Program. Develop contingency plans with phased funding tied to stability milestones. Ensure cultural adaptability by supporting hybrid models that blend traditional and formal institutions. And build capacity through conflict sensitivity training. What gives family offices a distinctive advantage in peacebuilding? First, intergenerational patience. Unlike quarterly-focused investors, family offices can pursue century-long visions, as demonstrated by the Rockefeller Foundation's decades-long philanthropy. Strategic discretion is another advantage. Operating outside public markets provides freedom to address sensitive conflicts through confidential mediation. Family offices also have integrated capital stack. Blending philanthropic, impact, and traditional investment capital create unique opportunities to address PEACE's dimensions simultaneously. Finally, networked influence. Global reach enables connections with disparate actors, fostering collaborations like the Aga Khan Foundation's infrastructure projects in East Africa, which reduced intercommunal violence by 25% in pilot areas. Even smaller family offices can participate by joining consortiums like the Impact Investing Alliance to pool resources, or focusing on low-cost, high-impact initiatives like funding local peace-building NGOs. Let me walk you through a strategic implementation framework that moves from principle to practice. Phase 1 is diagnostic mapping spanning months 1 through 6. Conduct conflicts landscape analysis using tools like the Global Peace Index to identify regions where the family has interests. Identify leverage points for disproportionate impact, such as high inequality areas with potential for economic stabilization. Map existing relationships and assets, including local partners, to deploy for peacebuilding. Phase 2 is piloted intervention, months 7 through 18. Launch discrete initiatives in 2 to 3 high-potential areas, combining economic development with relationship-building components. Establish clear metrics, 10% job growth in underserved regions within 2 years for structural impact, 80% of dialogue program participants reporting improved cross-community trust for relational impact, and 50% of portfolio firms adopting technologies for enhanced governance transparency within 3 years. Phase 3 is strategic integration, months 19 through 36. Incorporate peace considerations into all investment due diligence, prioritizing conflict-sensitive business practices. Develop family-wide expertise through training in conflict sensitivity. Build partnerships with other families and institutions for greater impact. Phase 4 is legacy institutionalization, year 4 and beyond. Embed peacebuilding into family governance documents and succession planning. Establish dedicated vehicles like peace-focused funds to sustain efforts across generations. Share learnings while protecting sensitive relationships to influence broader practice. Now, what's the peace dividend beyond risk mitigation? Investing in peace yields multiple benefits. Enhanced deal flow. Reputation as a constructive player unlocks unique opportunities, as seen in stable post-conflict markets like Rwanda. Talent attraction. Purpose-driven initiatives attract mission-aligned team members. Family cohesion. Shared commitment strengthens intergenerational bonds. And market development. Stable regions become tomorrow's consumer markets and talent pools. Here's the bottom line. For family offices contemplating their role across centuries, peace is the foundation upon which all wealth, financial, human, and social, flourishes or fails. The architecture of peace requires intentional design across structural, relational, and institutional dimensions. Family offices, with their unique resources, time horizons, and influence, are among the few actors capable of addressing all three simultaneously. The work begins with recognizing that peace is not something that happens to us, but something we build, transaction by transaction, relationship by relationship, institution by institution. For those tasked with preserving legacies across generations, there may be no more worthy or practical pursuit. Thank you for joining me today as we explored how family offices can architect enduring peace as the ultimate intergenerational strategy. Until next time, think beyond wealth preservation. Think peace architecture.